Hi folks, welcome back to another episode of Sherv's Garage. Today I have brought you an absolute beauty. A 2019 Ferrari 488 GTB in Corsa Red. This car is one of the most gorgeous cars in today's market of supercars. Ferrari in 2018 replaced the 458 Italia, which had a V8 naturally aspirated engine, with this model that we are looking at today. This car has a V8 engine, twin turbo, and it has 660 horsepower, 560 pound-feet of torque. As I mentioned, it's a V8 twin turbo, 3.9 liter, which is a nice size of an engine, but the sound of this car is absolutely amazing. The placement of the engine is fantastic. The weight distribution from front to back, phenomenal. I have driven it for I think 4 hours, and the entire 4 hours I couldn't stop smiling, and even now thinking about it I'm smiling. This car is absolutely a beautiful car to own, and I want to thank Sam, one of our dear friends. He's a true gem, for making it possible to review this car and bring it to your viewing and pleasure. Without further ado, let's go to cinematic review of this car, and I'll have the voiceover for you guys, so not only you don't get tired of looking at me the entire video, rather get proper information on this vehicle and the beautiful art of my videographer, who is extremely talented. Thank you so much, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the entire video. Thank you. Ferrari is not just any word in the automotive industry. It is an emotion for some, a dream for many, and what a true sports car should be. That is how prosperous and successful Ferrari has been in the automotive industry for all these years. The 2019 Ferrari 488 GTB has been launched one last year before it will be replaced by another Ferrari. The 2019 Ferrari 488 GTB cost approximately $290,000 and does not have any major changes compared to the 2018 model year. This means that you are getting a very lively and powerful 3.9-liter twin turbocharged V8 powertrain. In rear mid-engine, Ferrari made it to a quick shifting 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission that powers the rear wheel. As a replacement for the much loved Ferrari 458, the 488 GTB is another breathtaking mid-engine supercar from the Italian manufacturer that remains at the apex of automotive desirability. Along with its exotic looks, it's the 488 GTB's heart that captivates thanks to 661 horsepower from a 3.9-liter twin turbocharged V8. with a 0 to 60 mile per hour acceleration time of just 3 seconds and a phenomenal quarter mile time of 10.45 seconds. The performance on offer is intoxicating, and where mid-range grunt is concerned, even more effective than with the 458's bigger naturally aspirated unit. The usual array of aerodynamics wizardry keeps the GTB planted at high speeds, and the interior is all about exotic materials and an uncompromising focus on the driver. Ferrari has not only made an even faster exotic, but the addition of turbocharging hasn't diluted the 488 GTB's appeal as a raw, spine-tingling driving machine. The 488 GTB's performance is dramatic, to say the least. The 3.9-liter turbocharged engine's peak outputs of 661 horsepower and 561 pound-feet of torque make for a 0 to 60 mile per hour time of just 3 seconds, and it'll top out over 200 miles per hour if you are brave enough and if you can find somewhere to do it legally. The quarter mile is done and dusted in only 10.45 seconds. Most impressively, perhaps, is how even the fitment of turbos hasn't dulled the comical appeal of revving this Ferrari to its limiter. And unlike some other turbocharged cars, it's worth hitting the limiter as the engines continue building a surge of power all the way to the red line. There is no breathlessness at the top end. The V8 also makes a delicious howl, perhaps not as melodic as the old V8. It may surprise you that red isn't the only color option. So closely are Ferrari's cars associated with this fiery shade. There are several red shades to choose from, however, including Corsa Red, Fiorano Red, and Scuderia Red. For those with a non-traditional taste, there is a wide color palette to choose from, with over 20 shades like California Blue, Yellow Modena, which is yellow, Giorgio Silverstone Metallic, and Ivory. A low-down sitting position suits the purpose of 488 GTB, and the seats are super supportive. It's a typically racy interior with loads of suede, leather, carbon fiber, and metal trim covering dashboard and door panels. A centrally mounted tachometer takes pride of place ahead of the driver, but there is no central infotainment screen. Ferrari obviously thinks this would detract from the driving experience. Rather, most information is displayed via a digital readout alongside the rev counter. The steering wheel houses a red engine, start-stop button, and a button for the various driving modes. While the setup is a bit fiddly, at least the driver and passenger have a decent amount of space in the cabin to make the 488 GTB entirely livable. When it comes to infotainment, it's clear that infotainment systems aren't really a priority for Ferrari. Unlike in almost every other modern car, there's no large central display. Rather, this area features an air vent and several controls that have been angled to be as close to the driver as possible. Instead, information is displayed on the two tiny screens on either side of the central rev counter. There is just one trim level, but this doesn't really matter when you can customize the GTB to your heart's content. The steering wheel looks like something out of a gaming arcade, with its mass of buttons and switches. Some love it and some don't. And although airbags and rear view cameras are fitted, don't expect to find driving aids like blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert at all in this car. The driver does all the work, which is probably how it should be. Some of the pros and cons worth to mention are: new turbocharged engine equals astonishing pace with almost no turbo lag, mind-blowing mid-range grunt, stunning looks, high-quality drive-centric cabin, phenomenal handling capacity are some of the best pros of this car. And when it gets to its cons, it sounds good, but the old non-turbo V8 sounded even better, and some think that the 458 was prettier than the current 488. And the most problematic con of all is that we cannot drive one every day. The experience of driving this car is so different. A lot of times we can talk about how many horsepower a car has, or how many gears a transmission has. But how are we going to transfer the feeling of the driving experience to a viewer? And that's the question I always think about. As a car reviewer, I don't want to call myself a car journalist yet, but as someone who loves cars and loves to review them for you guys, how do I transfer that emotion to you? Well, hopefully by the nice job that my videographer does. That's the first thing. And the second part would be the way I can describe it for you. So this car is so light. They have used so much carbon fiber in this car that the power to weight ratio is so different, and it's so amazing that on sports mode, which is the regular mode for this car, like for example in other cars there's a comfort mode sitting here, but here sports mode would be the comparable to the sports mode. So on sports mode it's a normal car. On race mode, then the tail of this car, you get a fishtail the moment you push your foot on a gas pedal. And this car, because of the power to weight ratio, is made to do that. It has to be able to set some sort of a record on the road, and that's what makes a Ferrari, especially this kind of platform. This two-seater, this lovely transmission, the 7-speed transmission, I feel like I wish it had an extra gear. Sometimes you want to go to the 8th gear just for the sake of better and more relaxed, driving mode. But even with 7-speed, the gears are tall enough that you pretty much can get even good gas mileage if you drive normally on the roads of the city with this car. So I would say it's an exciting car to drive. It's a very well balanced car to drive. It's very down low to the ground, so center of gravity is low. As the engine is sitting right behind me, if I push the car to literally its limits, the sonorous exhaust notes that come out of this V8 engine is what the whole experience of this car is all about. This is not a car that you want to drive daily. Not that you couldn't, but I would say this is a car that you want to bring out over the weekend, enjoy for a few miles, park it inside the garage, clean it, shine it, enjoy it for a whole week, as you look at it, or if you have the ability to bring it inside your living room. I wish I could. But anyways, this car is amazing, guys. I hope you guys can have a chance to drive this lovely car. The noise, the steering wheel, it's like I'm sitting on a chair that has a video game setup, and I'm ready to perform the video game contest. It's lovely, guys. Overall, the Ferrari 488 GTB is a phenomenal performance machine. While the move from the 458 naturally aspirated V8 to a turbocharged unit initially received a mixed response, the 488 puts all those concerns to bed when you take it for a drive. This is a force-fed engine that combines the best of turbo with the best of a naturally aspirated unit, which is razor-sharp throttle response and an extreme appetite for revs. The rest of the GTB's package also thrills, from its impeccable chassis dynamics to its wonderful steering and surprisingly composed road manners when you aren't wringing its neck. The interior is mostly a success, with appealing materials and enough space, although the infotainment system is only average. Other than that, this is a car that's foolishly easy to love, and that feels special when it comes to competitors from Lamborghini and McLaren. I hope you found this video once again entertaining and informative. I truly appreciate your support by subscribing to this channel and becoming a part of Sherv's Garage family. Until next time.